Delate, and I'm a professor of agronomy and horticulture at Iowa State University, and I'm also an organic specialist there. Currently, my position is 100% organic research, teaching, and extension, which is outreach. I applied for the position because I do love organic agriculture. I've always been involved in it all my life, and my mother grew up on an organic farm in Minnesota. And so as a child, I was taught how to garden organically, and when we visited the family farm, it was always organic, and I never knew any differently until I went to college and I was studying agronomy, and I found out everyone was using chemicals. So I was surprised that this was actually the norm, and I raised my hand and said, but I know you can grow these same things without chemicals, and was met with quite disdainful looks from the professors. So I had a rough time in agronomy as an undergraduate student, being interested in organic, and so much so that I took a long time to graduate, something like 7 years, because I dropped out and then came back to school. And then when I came back, there was a little more openness to organic, but it's really only been in the last 10 years that the university's been more open to organic researchers. As I said in my lecture today, I base everything on what the organic farmers want me to work on. So I hold focus groups every year and ask their opinion about how's my research going, what else do you want us to look at? And I would say that in the last 6 years, there's been a focus on reducing tillage in organic systems. And it's not so much that we're seeing differences in erosion or carbon sequestration. In fact, the organic systems are having higher carbon sequestration, but it's the perception that organic has a lot of tillage, and people are reducing carbon pools by using too much tillage and possibly eroding soil. So with that in mind, I've been out to disprove that myth that organic systems have higher erosion. And so we've been working on this organic no-till system, and that involves crushing a cover crop and planting the commercial crop directly into that. And I'd say right now we have 50-50 success on it. Works really well for soybeans, but corn not so well, and vegetables pretty well as long as you irrigate them. We farm organically in a sea of GMOs. And yes, it is a concern. There's actually the first year that I grew organic crops, certified organic crops at my research site, the soybeans were rejected because of contamination. And so it taught us immediately that you have to take great care in cleaning out your bins, your wagons, your trucks, anything transporting your organic crops, because that's where we traced it to. It also can happen in the combine. If you don't clean the combine properly, you can have some leftover GMO beans in there, and we're pretty sure that's what happened the first year. So it's difficult, and I probably have heard from maybe 7 farmers in 15 years to help them resolve issues with GMO contamination. So they learned to adapt. They had to. They plant later than the GMO crops. They use windbreaks and talk to their neighbors, try to get their neighbors to understand that they're organic, and so they're going to have different operations and to try to work together. And it's a difficult task, but we're forced to coexist. To get the highest yields in organic systems, you do need longer rotations, like a 4-year rotation that has 2 years of alfalfa really help give you the highest yields. So that's important for people that want to get away from forage crops. It's just not going to work in the long run. You need to have them in there. It's improved over the last 15 years, but there's still far greater demand than supply. So we're still importing a lot of organic food. And
from where?
It's very frustrating. Well, there's even processors that we'll import from China, and Brazil, and India. So yeah, that's another obsession, to get people to grow more so that we don't have to import. And organic vegetables, of course, a lot come from California, and so that's been a big push of ours to get Iowans to grow more of their own organic vegetables, and that's been happening more and more. I can't say the numbers on it, but you can see every year there's more organic vegetable producers, and CSAs, community supported ag farms, have really taken off. And farmers markets are huge, so there's a lot more organic vegetable growing.
Do you think it will still grow? Some people hear the question, the future of organic farming. Will it always be a niche market, or it can, you know, develop more and reach maybe 20-30% of the whole production? Or
Yeah.
What is your idea about that?
Yes, it's, in our view, it can grow. Visiting countries like Austria, Italy, where else do we visit? Well, even in New Zealand where I worked, there was 20% of the apple growers in the region were organic. And there's tremendous potential for growth in organic. And it's just, I think people have to be taught, educated about how to do organic, because it's not something, unless they grew up with farmers or families that did farm organically, it's not that, you generally don't learn it in school. There are now more organic programs in school, but that's part of our extension program, is to train conventional farmers on ways to grow organic. And my goal would be 20% in the U.S., and right now we're 2%.
My name is Frank Kutka. I am the Assistant Director at the North Dakota State University Dickinson Research Extension Center, where I also coordinate the USDA Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Program for the citizens of North Dakota. I am here today speaking at the Canadian Organic Science Conference about the history and direction of extension work in the United States of America. And my big interest in organic agriculture right now is work I'm doing with the Northern Plains Sustainable Agriculture Society. They have started, via interest among the farmers, a participatory plant breeding project, and they would like to develop all of the crops they could for organic conditions in North Dakota. Day to day, I help extension faculty and staff interact with the Sustainable Agriculture Program so that they can take advantage of grants that we have and programming opportunities, and make use of some of the information sources we have both online and in print, so that they can take the best information about sustainable agriculture, including organic agriculture, to the people of North Dakota. Organic agriculture is a big part of agriculture in North Dakota. We play a big part of organic ag in the United States because we produce a lot of small grains and oilseed crops. But our number of organic farmers is kind of leveled off, or perhaps is dropping back a little bit. And efforts to include organic agriculture as a part of the normal curriculum for agriculture students, they have not gotten as far as we would like. So hopefully by helping bridge this gap, we'll be able to improve the situation for the industry and for people at large who are very interested in organic food. As a part of sustainability for some years, I've seen some really interesting things happen with the farmers, and I would at some point soon like to join them in their field efforts.
My name is Stephen Fox. I work with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, and I'm a Canada Western Red Spring wheat breeder. And about 2004, I started a small organic wheat breeding program in Manitoba in collaboration with the University of Manitoba, Dr. Martin Ince. And as of 2010, we've more or less built a small organic program now, and we're doing all of our work on organically managed land, and we have some advanced yield testing capacity in the 3 prairie provinces. So that means I'm actually collaborating with Dr. Pierre Huckel in Saskatchewan and Dr. Dean Spanner at the University of Alberta. So the point of this project is to find wheat varieties that are perhaps better adapted to organic production systems. There's up to the mid-2000s, there's really been very little of that sort of work being done, and so this was an interesting area to take on. I think because I run a conventional program, I've got a germplasm and a system already set up that can be used to kickstart the organic breeding program. So that's what we've done, and now we've been at it for a little while. Hopefully, we'll be able to generate materials that are adapted for organic production systems, but also will generate genetic materials that we can actually go back and ask what makes them adapted. If we find them things that are adapted, then we can go back and ask why is that, because now we'll have the appropriate germplasm to ask those questions. Like, there's really been very little, there's not really any downside to doing a bit more breeding work in the organic environment. The worst case scenario is we don't find something that's so special about organic environments, but I think we will. But there's it's allowing some alternative perspectives to be explored, and that's always a risk when you're working in an area for a while, is you start framing all your questions around this sort of the same set of presumptions, and that's always that's a risky thing. It happens a lot. You see it, and I always like to. It's not uncommon to see postdocs and graduate students coming up with revolutionary new findings because their background hasn't hampered their thinking, and so being exposed to organic agriculture and is also exposure to other kinds of thinking, and so that's probably pretty valuable for me because it makes you keep your mind open. It's important. Yeah, that's the way you do your thinking is important too, and it's. Yeah, if you're successful in a certain area, that also becomes a bit of a trap because you'll keep going back to where you got your successes from, and which is not a bad strategy, but it does put you into a corner, or it may put you in a corner.
Nicolas Tremblay. I'm working for Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada in the Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu Research Station. We have to deal with horticultural crops, and I'm personally involved with field crops as well. I have an interest for organic farming, especially within the context of the D5 part of the organic cluster, where we want to address the issue of how to grow organic transplants out of peat blocks, which is a nice technology that has been imported from France that we need to adapt for organic farming, because the issue of peat block production organic is about making available the peat block advantages to the organic farmers. We want to find out the best growing mix suitable for organic production. We want to find a way to water the peat blocks, and we also want to find the right mix of fertilizer to introduce in the peat blocks to sustain the growth of the little crop for the time it is in the greenhouse. we have in mind as well to achieve a good technology transfer for the organic farmers in terms of making available to them the technologies that are available to conventional growers in terms of remote sensing. We're very active in that area where we want to use imagery out of specialized cameras to figure out where the crops are in a position of problems. If they are affected by diseases, we'd like to find out that as early as possible using remote sensing technologies that are more sensitive than the human eye to detect problems in the crop. So an early warning system using cameras, I think, would be very suitable for any farmer, be it organic or conventional. So my personal interest in organic farming is really to contribute to a sector I think is worth very much for the future of the planet. We need to make a better job in agriculture in order to respect the environment and to make sure that we have healthy food at our disposal. So my goal is to make a contribution, a significant contribution for that matter.
Yeah, my name is Sukhdev Mahli. I'm a soil scientist with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada in Saskatchewan. The research station I'm working is in Melfort. I work in the area of nutrient management, that's plant nutrition, soil fertility, nutrient cycling, and that also working with all the annual and perennial crops in different various cropping systems. So in organic soils, I'm working on preventing nutrient deficiencies in organic crop production. So we are using several methods to do that. One is the management practices where we are using crop management, that means crop diversification, crop rotations with shallow and deep root system. The purpose is that deep root systems, they will bring nutrients from the subsoil and bring it to the surface, and then also you can have legumes for green manure, legumes for also you can grow in the crop rotation for seed and forage production, and then also growing grasses and legumes together as a mixture. That will be also, that means we don't have to add any nitrogen fertilizers. We are for phosphorus, we are trying to find out the effect of penicillium belli. Also we are using some microbial products like MicPro. We are also using trying to find out if rock phosphate is any feasible. The purpose of all these things is to sustain organic production effectively, efficiently, and also environmentally sound economically.
Do you think that one day organic agriculture can have the same yield as conventional agriculture?
Well, let's find out that as long as we can maintain the nutrient balance in the soil, then we can. It all depends what you use. Depending on like in other countries, they're using lots of organic manures. Sure, if you supply organic manure, it got lots of organic matter that improves the soil physical conditions, soil biological properties, then it also improves the soil fertility and productivity. Yes, it can. But now, especially we are talking about Canada, very extensive agriculture, manure may not be available on many farms because of its transportation costs. So we're working on all different alternatives, and we give alternative information, alternative nutrient sources to producers. Whatever is available, they can use from their own sources, whatever is economical.
So my name is Eric Gallandt. I'm a weed ecologist at the University of Maine, and I work with organic farmers because I'm very interested in how we can use the ecology of farming systems and try to exploit the ecology to benefit the management of weeds on these farms. Organic weeds are the biggest production-related problem for organic farmers, and so they have a real interest in understanding how they can manipulate various aspects of their system to impact weeds. And as an ecologist, I find that those sort of interactions with management and the environment just fascinating. And my overall aim is to understand what sort of practices we can use to try to reduce the seed bank on organic farms. So these would be the weed seeds that are on the soil surface and in the soil that contribute to weed problems that reoccur year after year. And so my research program really aims at strategies to try to overall reduce the number of viable seeds in the soil, and that will then make the multiple stresses that the many little hammers sort of stresses that organic farmers can impose can contribute to improved weed management on their farms. The real fundamental thing that we've learned in more recent years is that it's really important to understand the biology of the most problematic weeds that farmers are aiming to control. So for example, the time that those weeds want to germinate, and then timing disturbance to perhaps encourage germination so that you can then germinate weeds out of the seed bank. And also knowledge of the biology of weed seed production, weed seed rain, so that we can time disturbance or time the termination of a short season crop or a cover crop so that we can prevent seed rain. So those would be a couple of examples of how we try to understand the biology of the weed that we're trying to manage, as well as the ecology of management and how we can sort of bring those together to overall reduce the number of seeds in the soil.
I myself, as an organic inspector, am delighted to find that there's research verifying a lot of the anecdotal experiences that farmers have had and that I've seen in my 19 years traveling across the country visiting farms. So it was very worthwhile, and I'm looking forward to the next one and hearing more results and actually staying in touch with a lot of the researchers, because so much of what they're doing I want to be able to refer in my work with Canadian organic growers. I want to be able to refer growers' questions to some of these researchers so they can have access to the information.